Welcome to the Magical Traveling Moms podcast, where your hosts, Tina and Colleen, talk about all things travel. From theme parks to cruises to all-inclusive resorts and more, they cover news, tricks, and insider tips to inspire your travel dreams. They love to travel and want you to love it too. Find out their best-kept secrets and learn how to make your next vacation extra magical, right here on the Magical Traveling Moms podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Magical Traveling Moms podcast. My name is Colleen and I am joined today with my amazing co-host Tina. And today's episode is all about planning a cruise and why you should start as early as possible. And this is a very important podcast. If anyone is planning on taking a cruise anytime, the next year, 2 years, ever, you want to listen to this because there's important information here. But before we get started, we always like to say a little something about the sponsors of our show, Mystical Dream Travel. Mystical Dream Travel is a full-service, fee-free travel agency. They specialize in everything Disney, Universal, and also all of the major cruise lines, all-inclusive resorts, and so much more. So if you are ready to plan your next vacation, especially a cruise vacation, be sure to reach out to the amazing agents at Mystical Dream Travel. You can find them at mysticaldreamtravel.com or look them up on social media. So, hi, Tina, how are you?
Good, Colleen. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Oh my gosh, it's getting off to a bang, right?
I know. Did you have a good New Year? I'm sure, you could say Happy New Year still, right? Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. Did you ever see the Seinfeld episode where they talked about that?
I can't remember that. We used to watch Seinfeld all the time when I was a kid, but I don't remember that, but I'm sure it was hilarious.
It's a whole topic about how long you actually say Happy New Year.
How long can you say Happy New Year? That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I feel like at least the first week. I think that should be allowed.
Yeah, exactly. But do you think it should go for like a month? I don't know. That's a whole
month. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So did you have a nice New Year?
I did have a very nice New Year. It was very relaxing. And it was kind of like the calm before the storm. Now, like yesterday, I just kind of felt like, oh, that's it. Boom, we're jumping in again. And kids go back to school tomorrow.
Ooh, ours went today.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, that would be Tuesday.
So I'm just like, ready to, got my planner, got my marketing plan, I got my goals. We're having a vision board party. I'm having a vision board party on Saturday.
Nice, very nice.
So I'm very excited about that.
Very nice.
So yeah, we're just getting right in there.
Good.
So I have had this on my mind for a while, the topic of this podcast.
Yes,
because
it's important.
I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but I have definitely noticed lately when looking at cruise availability, there's not a lot of it. Like, people clearly want to go on a cruise. And it is surprising to me how booked up cruises are already for 6, 8 months, even a year out on certain ships.
Yes, at certain times of year too. So there's popular times of year like spring break, summer vacation, holiday travel,
any holiday.
Any holiday. The cruise lines are pretty much almost sold out on a lot of these destinations.
It's like crazy to me. I don't think I've ever seen it like this before. Even pre-pandemic, and cruising was very, very popular and hot right before the pandemic, but I don't even remember it being this hard to find availability back then. So, and it's not that there aren't ships, there aren't sailings, like there's tons of cruises to choose from. So I feel like we have to put like a PSA out there.
Yes. Yeah. And so the cruises, they're booking up so fast that we can't even keep up. So the comeback on the cruise industry from the pandemic is just been, in a way, almost baffling, because it's almost like shocking. I know at the agency, we've been booking more cruises than we ever have before.
So many.
So people, it's just, and I think mainly because it's such a good value. So if you really think about cruising in general, it provides such a good value for your families, or if you're going on a honeymoon or baby moon, all that kind of stuff, multi-generational travel. There's something for everybody, but the value of a cruise is amazing because you get to go to different destinations. So you unpack once and you get to see all these amazing destinations and different cultures and experience something new. But also the big value, I think, is your food, your meals are included. And that's huge, especially if you have a larger family. That's a big thing.
Yeah, that's a huge value. And I agree. Like you get the most bang for your buck with a cruise vacation, I think. Because it's almost like it's like going to an all-inclusive, especially if you get the drink package, which many cruise lines offer some type of a drink package. But your food, your activities, your entertainment, and these cruise ships, like, they're crazy. Like the things that they have on a cruise ship, like the shows, the level of quality of the shows and the music and the things to do and the water slides and ice skating rinks and bumper cars and it's just mind blowing how much is on a cruise.
Yeah, games and crafts and like you name it, it's there.
And a lot of people have a cruise port that they could maybe drive to, right? Like I know in my area, that's huge. Like Port Canaveral is only 8 hours from us.
Yes, and even up here in Pennsylvania, we have 2 ports that are only about within 4 hours of us. Yeah. So we have Baltimore, and then we have up at Cape Liberty in New York, right? Cape Liberty in New Jersey that we can drive to, which makes it really, really nice.
Well, with the cost of airfare.
Yes.
I'm just saying, like with the cost of airfare, like if you're thinking you want to go to an all-inclusive in the Caribbean, but then when you price it out, sometimes the airfare is more than the resort stay. So if there's somewhere you can go drive to and get on a cruise and still go visit the Caribbean and go to the islands and the tropical destinations and the beach and all that, and it's like half the cost. I mean,
yes.
So, and now that the cruise lines have officially dropped all of their restrictions in terms of vaccination and testing and all of that, it's huge. Like that's, and we definitely noticed once that happened, and we knew that was going to happen. Like, I think we all knew, like, once that happens, it's going to be like a wave. Yeah. But I don't know if we knew it was going to be quite so.
I know. And here's the thing that cruise lines, I think, what helped it along is, especially when everything kind of started lifting with the requirements and stuff, they actually put out some really amazing offers, which are still available today. Especially like we saw things that we've never seen before, like especially from Disney Cruise Line.
That was an amazing offer.
Yeah, and it's still there now as of today on January 3rd. So the offer may change any day now.
Right. January 3rd, 2023, it is still there.
It's still available to book for and it's an amazing deal, especially for Disney Cruise Line. It's something they never offer and we've never seen before, where it was, if you are a Disney Plus subscriber, I highly recommend that you reach out to your Mystical Dream travel agent and check out this offer, because we've been able to get families of 5 on board a 7-night cruise on the Fantasy, Marvel Day at Sea, Pixar at Sea, all of that for less than $5,000 in a Veranda View.
Insane.
I mean, I've even seen as low as $3,000 that we've booked. So definitely you want to take advantage, but as Colleen said, they're booking fast.
Well, that's the thing, is there's already sailings with Disney Plus that you can't get the Disney Plus promo anymore.
Yeah,
and there's a couple of sailings, well, in January, but that were like basically sold out. I mean, there's no rooms left. So, people jumped on it, which is great, but now it's like the days of last minute cruise deals. Like, I think there used to be years ago, like this, if we wait until like right before the cruise, like we can get some fantastic deal. I think those days are over. I
I
I would
agree.
not recommend waiting because there are so many sailings that I'm seeing across the board, all the cruise lines that are pretty much completely booked. So yeah, so I came up with a list of 5 reasons, to book your cruise early. Just because I really want to make it very apparent to people, like, no, really, like if you are interested in a cruise anytime in 2023 and even 2024, you really need to do it ahead of time. And so my number one reason is availability. Like that's the number one reason you want to book as far in advance. And I mean, a lot of people are surprised how far in advance you can book a cruise. Now, Disney Cruise Line is a little different. They're not as far in advance, but right now you can book through May of 2024. But other cruise lines you can book, even beyond that. So usually cruise lines have like a year or 2 years ahead of time that you can book. And honestly, that is when you're going to get the best price. So
Yep. And I usually the best price, so we get asked, when's the best time to book? If you know of when you want to go, and it truly is the first 2 weeks of a release of their itinerary and their dates, that is the best price point that you will get on a cruise. So, I mean, it's not that you won't get good deals, down the road, but
right.
Really, the best time to book is opening day of new itineraries and new dates. That's the best time to book because that's going to be your best price point. Now, I will say cruise lines, so a lot of people think, oh, a new deal come out, so I'm going to get a better offer. But the truth is not really, because cruise fare fluctuates and people don't realize that. It works just like airfare. That's the best way to explain it. It can change day by day.
Yeah.
So it's really important when you're comfortable at a price point on your cruise that you book it at that time. And we do price watch. They do price watch, but more often than not, it is not a better deal because of the price of the cruise fare. The base of the base cruise fare went up. So
the discount is applied to the current cruise fare.
Right.
So if you booked it 6 months ago, your cruise fare was a lot lower. Even with the discount on the new cruise fare, it's not as good. And yeah, that is something that a lot of people don't understand. And so cruise fares only go up.
Yeah, and because they're in demand, it's going to go higher. And that's the one thing I will say with Disney Cruise Line. That's a lot of people are like we said before, there's usually no deal with that. It's very rare that Disney comes out with any kind of deal on a cruise line for them. But here's the thing with Disney Cruise Line, theirs is the sooner you book it, the better the price point is. And the reason is because their ships go out at 90% capacity every time. So they don't need to offer a deal.
No, they don't. Like they know they're going to book it out, and the cruise fare goes up as it gets closer to the sailing and the ship gets more full. So the less availability of rooms, the higher you're going to pay for those rooms. And so the quicker things book up, the higher the price goes up. So I've definitely noticed that lately where like these ships are filling up so fast, the price is going up a lot. Like,
and it's on all
like you were saying, day to day.
It's not just with Disney or your higher end cruise line. It's with all of them. They're all of them. And here's
across the board. All of them.
Yeah. And speaking of availability, the sooner you book, one thing that is beneficial to that, and we say this all the time, even with resorts, you get your choice of staterooms.
Yeah.
So those less expensive staterooms are going to fill up faster. So if you delay your booking, you're going to have a very limited choice of what you get to pick from, and that you may end up in a category that maybe you really didn't really want. Yeah.
And luxury staterooms also book up faster. So it's always like the top end staterooms. Like if you want a suite, if you want if Disney Cruise Line, if you want concierge,
you better book early.
Because there's fewer of those rooms and they're very popular. So it's always like the top end and the bottom end. But another thing with cruising that I think another thing people don't realize if they've never cruised before is if you have a family over 4, you have an additional, complication where most staterooms are only for 4 or less. And the rooms that can accommodate 5 or 6 or more are fewer. You can do a connecting, but again, you've got to find those connecting. So if you are a family of 5 or more, it's even more important, I think, to book as early as possible, because there's just, and I've run into a couple of cases lately where a family of 5 or 6 really wanted to cruise for April vacation or whatever, and I just couldn't find a room that would accommodate them. There were rooms, but just not that would make it work for their family.
Yes.
And they are very strict on the cruise line. It doesn't, I've had people say to me, well, I don't care, we'll make Jimmy Jr. sleep on the floor. I'm like, no. Like, they literally will not let you book this room. Like, it doesn't matter that you don't care if you have a bed for your kid. They will not. It is regulated. It's very strict. That room says it's for 3 people, 2 people, 4 people. And sometimes during peak times, they're even strict about, like, if you have a room that's rated for 4, they won't let you book it for 2 people.
Yes, that's true.
I just ran into that problem too, where, like, I could find like this and that and whatever, but the cruise line said, nope, this room is rated for 4. We won't let you put just 2 people in it.
Because they don't need to, because they're going to fill it.
Exactly. It's a peak time. So they know they can get 4 people. They're going to stick to that. So there's all these different strict rules about it. So absolutely availability for staterooms, sailings, the type that you want. Best price was my reason number 2, which we kind of touched on already. Price only goes up. It really only goes up. It never goes back down. So those are really the most important reasons. Those really are the most important reasons. But also you have more time to plan the best experience, because in addition to the staterooms booking up and the sailings booking up, sometimes excursions book up, or with Disney Cruise Line, there's experiences like the princess tea party or a character breakfast, character meet and greets. You can book those ahead of time. Well, if you're not already booked when that window opens, you might not get it because they book up.
They do. And excursions through the cruise line book up very, very quickly.
They can,
like you said. So you might have to go out and look for a third party, which is not something we always recommend that you do. Right. However, that's why you really want to work with an agent at Mystical Dream Hotel, because they can kind of help guide you through that. And when is the right time to book. So some cruise lines allow you to book as soon as you book your cruise. And some cruise lines do not, you have to wait till opening day for certain things, that especially on the ship, things that are tied to the ship specifically.
Right. Some are real specific, some are, you're right, more flexible, but that's why it's important to use a travel advisor, because they know the rules for each cruise line, so they can, and they'll make sure you don't forget, right? Like they're going to like have it on their calendar and make alerts, and they're going to email you and they're going to say, hey, just a reminder, later this week is when you're able to start booking this, or when you can check in and get your boarding time or whatever. But if you have not booked by the time those windows open, you might miss out on some of the experiences that you wanted to have. So absolutely, you want the most time in order to really think about, what do you want to experience? What do you want to do for excursions? Do you want specialty dining? Do you want, and plan it out so that when you go, you have the best experience and you get to do all of the things that you want to. Also, I wrote down, one of the other reasons I think booking far in advance is great is you can work on maybe getting your friends and family to come and cruise with you, right? So I love to think ahead of time, like 2 years even down the road, and say, okay, I really want to go to Alaska or Hawaii, or I really want to see this, I want to sail on this brand new ship that's amazing. And I call up my family and my friends and I'm like, who wants to go on a cruise? Let's go. And if you get enough people, you can make it a group. And then there's extra, amenities and perks that you get if you can get a group, and each cruise line has different rules about how many rooms make it a group and what do you get and yada, yada. But the further in advance you start planning that, the more you can get other people to get on board with you.
Right. And just make it fun. And a lot of times with the group cruising, there are different amenities that you can get and take advantage of. So I definitely agree with that. I like that idea of
you might get some onboard
family.
credit.
Yes.
Sometimes you get enough people, you get a room for free.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
Cocktail party.
And I'm telling you, cruising is one of those vacations that's fun to do with a group.
I agree.
Yeah, it's definitely really fun to do.
And you want to stay tuned because we will be doing a series on group multi-generational.
I know. Coming up. Yeah.
Coming up.
They are. Yes, we are going to. Yeah, that's good. Good plug, Tina. Yeah. We're going to later in the month start our series on multi-generational travel, and definitely cruises are one of those trips that's great for multi-generational travel because there's really something for every age.
And we'll dive into that. Yep, we're going to dive into
that. And then my final reason, my fifth reason for booking your cruise early is that you have more time to save up your money and pay it off. So, if you book a year and a half, 2 years out, you can make payments. A lot of the cruise lines offer like a flex pay or a payment plan. You can even set it up automatic and, set it and forget it, or just reach out to your travel advisor and they'll process payments for you. So, I like that, spreading it out, because especially with like bucket list cruises like Hawaii or Alaska or Europe, might be a little bit more expensive, but if you spread it out, it seems a lot more manageable. Then, you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about putting a huge chunk of cash down at once.
No, I agree. I think that's a lot of people are planning for further out, we're seeing, because they're doing these bucket list trips to either. I just did one for a client to Japan, doing an Asia one next year. And so, and I just had someone call me about Australia in 2025. Ooh. So they are a little more expensive, of course, because the air to get there and everything like that. But like Colleen said, if you plan it out, you can budget for it, you can plan for it and make chunks of payments over time. So
make it more doable. And because you can book it so far in advance, why not take advantage of that?
Right.
And cruises, that's a great point, that like cruises are a great way to see parts of the world that might be intimidating to see. Like you wouldn't just go to Australia or maybe go to Japan just on your own and not know what you're doing. With a cruise, at least it's, you're on an itinerary, you're going to different ports. It's kind of all planned out for you.
Yes, and you can book the excursions through the cruise line. And so you may feel, if you're not someone who has traveled abroad, you may feel a little bit more comfortable and safer doing something along those lines. It's a great way, like we said in the very beginning, that a cruise is a great way to unpack once and see multiple destinations in one trip.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think cruising is just going to continue to become very more popular, and people are more interested in that type of vacation. I don't blame them. It's amazing. I love cruising. My family loves cruising. But really, like, if there is anything that I can tell people right now is please book your cruise. If you have any interest in cruising at all, and then like ever, like reach out to Mystical Dream Travel like ASAP and get the ball rolling. Because it's just crazy to me how far out these cruises are booking, and I don't think it's going to stop. I don't think it's going to slow down. I don't think so either. More crazy.
I would agree with you, Colleen. I think it's just going to get more and more. And as these ships are getting more and more amazing, and innovated, it's just crazy. So I definitely encourage you. And if you've never cruised before and you're not sure where to start, I usually recommend 4 night, because 3 nights kind of too quick, I think. So I usually recommend starting out on a 4-night cruise, just to sort of see, to make sure you're going to like it before going all in.
Yeah.
a
Well,
7
and
or
again, that's where the travel advisors come in handy as well, because you can contact them and just ask them questions like, what is it like? You're concerned about motion sickness. They know all the tips and tricks and suggestions, and they can say, do this, not that. If you have this fear or that fear or whatever, they can go over all of it, because it can be overwhelming if you've never cruised before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I hope that we have, inspired some of our listeners to consider going on a cruise, and, and everybody is like, yes, let's go book a cruise now, because it is a fantastic vacation option. And I hope you try it out if you haven't. And if you guys have any questions, reach out to Mystical Dream Travel, or, you can comment on our posts too, and ask us questions. And we are happy to answer any specific questions that you have that we didn't go over. And I have a feeling over the next year, we'll be talking about cruising a lot.
Yes, we are. I think we might be going on a few.
I know, exactly, right? So we thank you for tuning in and listening this week. Be sure to like and subscribe, leave us a comment, a review, and check us out on YouTube if you haven't yet. And until next time, we hope all of your travels are magical.